Greetings and salutations. I'm Madison and welcome to my channel Uniquely Madison, your one-stop place for everything vintage. Uniquely Madison. In today's video, we are going on a road trip to visit the Southeastern Railway Museum located in Duluth, Georgia. Now, I was very excited to film this video because I have visited this place before and I was amazed by their collection. This museum really is a hidden gem, if you will, because they have so many rare and unique pieces. I was also blessed with the opportunity to film a few places that are not open to the public. So in this video, you will be seeing some places that are open only on special occasions, some cars that are undergoing restoration, and some cars that are awaiting restoration. Obviously, they have an amazing collection, but I also wanted to feature them because they need your help to continue their work. Unfortunately, as of this year, they are on a list of historic places in peril, which basically means that they need funds to continue to run the museum and to continue their restoration efforts. If they do not get the funds, unfortunately, a lot of history will be lost, and I think that would be a real shame. So if you can visit, I would highly recommend it. As I mentioned, it is a hidden gem, but if you cannot visit, I'm going to be leaving a link down in the description box below. If you can donate, I would be so grateful, and I know they would be too, because it is so important to preserve history for the next generation. So without further ado, let's visit the Southeastern Railway Museum. The Southeastern Railway Museum is Georgia's official transportation history museum and was founded in 1970 by the National Railway Historical Society. Spread across 30 acres, the museum boasts over 90 pieces of rolling stock, a gift shop, train rides, a memorabilia hall, and so much more. As you step into the large warehouse, you are immediately greeted by one of the museum's biggest jewels, the Pullman Superb private car. Built in 1911, this Pullman unit is one of the second oldest steel private cars in existence. One of its first significant uses was by President Warren G. Harding for his 1923 cross-country tour. By the summer of 1923, Harding's presidency was starting to be overshadowed by scandal and public dissatisfaction. Events like the Teapot Dome scandal, the Great Railroad Strike of 1922, alongside the heightened racial tensions from tragedies like the Tulsa Race Massacre, had all significantly impacted his public image. Hoping to distance himself from these scandals and to reconnect with voters, Harding decided to embark on a several-month-long train trip all across North America, dubbing it the Voyage of Understanding. Despite his physician's warnings about the demanding schedule, President Harding and First Lady Florence Harding departed from the White House on June 20th, 1923, aboard this very Pullman car. There were many stops along the way, including iconic American landmarks and natural wonders. They stopped at several national parks, including Yellowstone National Park and Zion National Park. They met with people from various states, learned about Native American communities and local heritage sites, while the public got a chance to see a more personal side of their president. As he journeyed north to Alaskan territory, he drove the final spike of the Alaska Railroad and met with residents of local towns and villages. Before heading back south, he also stopped in Vancouver, British Columbia, where a parade was held in his honor. Though the president enjoyed his travels, the strenuous journey took a toll on his health. On August 2nd, President Hardy and his party traveled to San Francisco, California. There they stopped for the night, and unfortunately, the president died that evening in his hotel room. The news stunned the nation, and the Superb had to make its solemn return trip, carrying his casket from San Francisco to Washington, D.C., and ultimately back to his hometown of Marion, Ohio. Beyond its presidential use, this car also served in other capacities. In 1926, it was renamed Pope Pius XI and painted bright red for the Cardinal's train between New York City and Chicago. It was also known as Los Angeles during its ownership by Pullman. Later, it was sold to the Charleston and West Carolina Railroad Company, becoming their office car before the railroad merged into the Seaboard Coastline Railroad. The Superb was generously donated by the Seaboard Coastline Railroad in 1967 and was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1999. Adjacent to the Superb is the 1927 private car Marco Polo, which was built by Pullman in Chicago. It has often been called the predecessor to Air Force One and was one of Franklin D. Roosevelt's favorite cars. He frequently rode in the Marco Polo both during his time as governor of New York and as president of the United States. He mostly used it for trips to Warm Springs, Georgia, where he would go to rest and take in the medicinal hot springs. Now, this car is closed off to the general public. Thankfully, we had a very kind guide named Bill who gave us a private, up-close and personal tour of this car. So if you come to see the Marco Polo, you may not be able to see the interior of the car, just the exterior. Obviously, most of the car has remained the same, with a few restorations. However, the kitchen is one of the more modernized places in the car, but that did not detract from the beauty and wonder of this elegant piece of transportation. There is truly a little bit of something for everyone at this museum, whether you enjoy the gigantic steam locomotives or you enjoy miniatures and models. There is a little bit of something for everyone to enjoy. Tucked in the exhibit hall is a collection of train travel memorabilia. Here you will find old maps and train models, learn about the porters and workmen aboard various lines, and admire artwork, posters, and a stunning collection of branded dishware from over 20 railroad lines. There is a lot to see in this one room. However, one of the most outstanding features is this miniature train model display. Set with several running train lines, this whole entire model took 18 months to complete. Moving on to the second warehouse, this one is a bit more open air and it holds a good portion of their rolling stock cars. Some of these cars are open to the public, however, we got to see a few that are not yet ready for exhibition. I think it's important to note the condition of some of these cars. They are in desperate need of repair and restoration. It's not a cheap process. It costs thousands of dollars just to repaint a car, let alone fix up the insides. And I think it's important to let people see that the pieces that they have are in need of restoration and they need help to reach their goals so that they can continue to delight and educate the public about the history of trains and public transportation. In addition to trains and other bits of train memorabilia, they also have several public buses on display. You can't get on everyone, but there are a few that you can go in and explore. Here you will see them highlight the history of segregation and the troubles with public transportation and segregation. They also highlight one of my personal heroes, Rosa Parks, as one of the most famous protesters of this unfair and unjust law system. Our tour concludes with a visit to the Washington Club sleeper and lounge car, built in 1930. The Washington Club car is completely unchanged, even featuring the original fixtures, floor plan, and glass windows. The sunroom is the most unique feature of this car, and the Washington Club car is the sole survivor out of the 32 Pullman-built cars that featured sunrooms. Out of all the trains we saw that day, this one was my favorite, and the one I felt most at home. I adored all of the exquisite details, especially the gold fixtures complemented by pearlescent glass. Through the chipped, rusted paint, the faded, dusty upholstery was once a beautiful train, and I could almost picture the people sitting around reading magazines, playing cards, and laughing as 1930s music lilted through the air. My heartfelt thanks goes out to the Southeastern Railway Museum and to our guide Bill for this amazing experience. And a big thank you to my channel members for supporting me and helping to make these videos possible. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.